Hey there, welcome to Synth Seeker. My name's Luke. It is the 28th of January, January 28th. Only a few more days left. Today we're going to talk about, I was going to do a jam today. What are we in? We're in C harmonic minor. So we're going back into that sort of switched on box sort of classical place, just for fun. And one of the things I want to talk about very briefly was, you could call it gain staging. There's lots of videos on gain staging. I was just going to show you something that happens to me and what I do to deal with it. I'm using a Microfreak today and a Matriarch, and I'm actually using an instance of Omnisphere because I want to use this bass guitar sound. Now, so we've got two pieces of hardware and a piece of software, and what I want to illustrate is the software inherently when you drop a VST or something into your DAW. Their levels are way up there, right? And I've even got this pulled back. So it's peaking between -18 and -12 on the meter, okay? I like all of my instruments to peak right around there, okay? And that way when I'm mixing and they start, the composition of all those pieces raises the master level to a place where I still have enough headroom that when I send it off to be mastered or when I try and master it myself, the engineer involved doesn't curse my name. So I like instruments to be between -18 and -12. Now the problem is, plug in, let's do a Microfreak because that's the most egregious one. All right, so the Microfreak volume is pegged. Now there are ways within the patch to raise the output, but generally, the presets that it comes with, the things that I tend to make, just the output of the Microfreak is much lower, right? And I've got the volume all the way up. So within your DAW, since most modern DAWs, all of them that I know of, although there may be exceptions, that's why I'm saying most of them are using a really high bit depth internal processing, right? So within in my case, Ableton, I can go over to this external instrument plugin and I can turn the volume, the gain, like way up, 24 dB of gain, which that brings it up close to that -18 and -12 space. And it's not distorting at all, right? You want to listen for that, but it's not clipping anywhere. And maybe that's fine for you. But when you turn that gain up all the way, if you've got any noise in your system, you're going to hear it as hiss, right? As noise in the background. Now, if we look here, coming out of here, I've got my meters are lit ever so slightly, right? If you look on the track meter, it's there. But that's so low that I really don't hear it. But if you do hear it, right, you don't want to necessarily do gain here. You're going to have to deal with it in some other way. You have to go to your audio interface, turn the gain up there, or if you've got, you have to look at your wiring. Are you running through pedals that are noisy, something like that? Are you running a compressor, right? Compressor is going to bring the noise floor up. So that's just something to think about. Anyway, so hey, that's just a little bit about how I deal with the disparity between VST gain and external hardware gain. Anyway, so what are we doing today? We're going to do a quick jam. We're going to use the Microfreak. We use the Matriarch. And we're going to use this little bass. Now, one other thing I wanted to show you before I jump into the jam, if we look in Ableton, I'm using an Arpeggiator, right? And this Arpeggiator, ignore the preset, the name of the device. That's the Arpeggiator. I just dragged a random preset out, but I've sort of mangled it a bit. Well, actually, I've mangled it a lot. What's happening is there's a technique I like to do with arpeggiation, where if you arpeggiate downward, so this is a 3-octave arpeggiation. So when I press a button, it actually is going, it's arpeggiating down an octave, and it's doing that twice. And then if your arpeggiator has a reset option where you can reset the arpeggiator pattern on a note press, so every time you press a note, Every time you press a note, the arpeggiator resets at the top and then starts going down again. What that lets you do is something, it's a little sort of playing technique I like to do where I hold down a sort of drone note. I'm going to hold this C down. All right. And then I'm just going to, with my other finger, play out a little melody in time with the arpeggiation. And every time I hit a new note, the arpeggiation restarts at the top. So it allows you to play over and play with the arpeggiator, but still define melodies as you're playing. So you can go. All right. You can even hold a chord down if you want. All right, so that's a little thing you can play with. If you've got an arpeggiator that will reset on new note press, set it to be a downward facing arpeggiator, a downward playing, so it steps down, and then hold a drone and start playing melodies over top of it. It's a lot of fun. All right, so I'm going to use that here to just generate a 4-bar loop, and then I'm going to drop a couple Matriarch chords over it, and then I'm going to drop some bass under it, and that'll be the jam for today. All right, so let's get started. So we're set for 4-bar fixed length. We're in C harmonic minor. This is 120, wow, 120 BPM. I actually was playing with the BPM and just randomly spun it back down and it just landed on 120 BPM. I tried not to play at 120 BPM as often as I can. But let's get started here. And let's see, is my metronome routing up correctly? In the last video, you guys heard a lot of metronome. There we go. The mic might pick it up a little bit. So let's lay something down. There, that's laid down, a little 4-bar pattern. And let's put some chords under it. All right. Then we're going to put a bass under it. There we go. And that'll do, right? There's a jam for today. I want to play a little bit more over that though, so let's delete that bass line. And I love that bass sound so much, I'm going to throw some stuff in there. There you go. So that's the jam for the 28th. We'll see where we can go with that later in the year. So that arpeggiation technique where you can play leads over a drone is a nice way to generate some ideas. So give it a shot. And that's it for today. I will go edit this down, ship it out, and I will talk to you tomorrow. All right. So, hey, thanks for spending time with me. I hope some of this was useful for you. And as always, you have been watching Synth Seeker. I'll talk to you tomorrow.